Have you ever felt invisible within your own home? Have you ever had the feeling that no matter how much you did everything right, good grades, exemplary behavior, tried to please all the time, still, it was never enough? This video is for those who grew up trying to be accepted by those who never truly saw them. For those who molded themselves, kept silent, erased themselves, just to fit within a love that had many demands but little delivery. For those who learned from a young age that they needed to deserve affection. Today, we are going to talk about the silent but deep pain of being emotionally ignored by those who should be our first mirror, our parents. And we are also going to talk about healing. Because yes, it is possible to rebuild yourself, validate yourself, and learn to love yourself, even when others didn't know how. From an early age, many children understand, even without words, that to receive love, they need to do something. Be useful. Be the best. Be the most polite. Be the most obedient. The child learns that love is a reward, not a bond, and so begins the cycle of emotional self-annulment. Little by little, they stop showing who they are, because being themselves never seemed enough. They start wearing masks. They become the ideal son, the good daughter, the one who carries the family's expectations on their shoulders, but inside a void grows. This is the pain of not being seen. Not outwardly, and because sometimes parents were physically present, but inwardly. In what you felt, thought, dreamed, you were not seen as a person, you were seen as a project, function, or obligation. Let's talk about a true story. The girl who was invisible even when she cried, her name was Marina. Marina was always the correct daughter. She had good grades, helped her mother at home, never caused trouble. Even so, she felt that nothing she did was enough. Her mother was cold, distant, and her father, too busy with his own problems. When she shared an achievement, like a high grade or a compliment from the teacher, she would hear a simple, uh-huh. When she was sad, she was called dramatic. If she cried, they told her to stop. If she was silent, they said she was acting strange. She grew up like this, without knowing where she could exist without judgment, adapting to what others wanted, molding herself to fit in. But inside, she felt that no one saw who she really was. Today, as an adult, she realizes she tried to be accepted by those who never saw her. And this left marks: difficulty trusting, fear of rejection, a constant feeling of inadequacy. But she also realized something deeper. She wasn't invisible. She was just surrounded by those who didn't know how to see. People who grew up trying to be accepted by emotionally absent parents carry silent consequences, excessive search for approval, always waiting for someone to say, "You are good enough." Difficulty setting boundaries, because they are afraid of losing the little affection they receive. Destructive perfectionism, believes they will only be loved if they are flawless. Abusive relationships, got used to receiving little, and thinks it's normal. But the truth is that this pain is not your fault. You were not born insufficient. You were emotionally trained to believe that. Why can't some parents see their children? This is a painful but necessary question. Parents are not always cruel. Sometimes they are emotionally immature. They carry unresolved traumas. They didn't receive affection and repeat without realizing it, the same pattern. Other parents project their frustrations onto their children. They want their child to be what they couldn't be. And in this process, they fail to see the child as a unique being, with their own desires and identity. There are also those who compete emotionally with their children, as we talked about in the previous video. Or they simply don't have the emotional intelligence to deal with feelings, their own and others. But regardless of the reason, the impact is the same. The child grows up feeling that they need to deserve love. How to heal this pain and stop seeking outside what was missing inside? This journey is not simple, but it is possible. And it starts with awareness. Here are real, deep, and possible steps for those who want to break free from this pattern. 1. Recognize. You were emotionally neglected. Naming the pain is the first step to healing it. Saying, "Yes, I tried to be accepted by those who didn't see me," is an act of courage, not victimhood. 2. Separate love from effort. True love doesn't need to be deserved. It is free, generous, constant. You don't need to sacrifice yourself to be loved. That's abuse, not affection. 3. Stop seeking approval from those who never knew how to offer it. Some parents will not change. They will not recognize. And as hard as that is, it's liberating. You no longer need to live to please those who don't know how to receive. 4. Create a new internal narrative. You are not insufficient. You were taught to believe that, but now you can resignify your story with words of acceptance, firmness, and truth. 5. Seek real emotional support. Therapy, support groups, healthy friendships, spirituality. Heal yourself in places where there is exchange, not demand. You deserve to be seen. And there is life outside the emotional walls of your childhood. The pain exists, but it can turn into strength. Many incredible people today, leaders, therapists, writers, conscious parents, were ignored children. They transformed pain into wisdom, wound into empathy, silence into voice. You can too. Your story doesn't need to continue in the shadows. Maybe you grew up asking to be seen. But today, you can see yourself. And that changes everything. If this video was helpful to you, leave your like now, share it with other parents facing this challenge, and subscribe to the channel for more transformative tips. Until next time.